Okay, so here we are again, and now we're showing the gap space on the 6x47 cases. I just wanted to, this is in the big white old school Panda gun. See if I can get this light just right. Come on, baby, don't switch on me now. There we go. So get that in the camera. There's open. This one's got a very tiny bit of caulk on the bottom. Close on the bottom. There the bolt goes. It's just starting to engage, and as we go down, it goes ahead and it's got a tiny bit of helical at the top of the bolt throw. Here's the bolt starting to go down. There it is, closed down. These are, I'm going to trim these just a tiny bit. They're not binding, they're not touching, everything is good in them. But I just want to show you that that again is, I figured this reamer correctly. I know what this brass wants to do. I've worked with it. This is a known thing. So now we're going to show you how the PPC came out. So let me swap this thing out and back up just a little bit. So allow me to get in here, move this gun. Now we come back with the PPC. This one's never been checked. Now this is that Benjamin barrel I was talking about, and I might have made a mistake. I cleaned it, and perhaps I shouldn't have, because what we're finding out is, what I just found out is, this barrel is so stinking shiny inside, it's hard to even get a reading on it. But we're going to go ahead and give it a try. Get this bore scope inside. The one complaint I have with this TESLONG bore scope is that the focus on it is not as handy as a Hawkeye. With the Hawkeye, you can change focus as you're viewing. With this you can't. I've got to pop it out the side, adjust the focus, then put a case in. So it's a little more of a hassle to deal with. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the gap space. Here we are. And this one's not as perfectly in focus, but you know what? I'm going to make you live with it, because I just don't feel like going through and changing all of that. I think you're going to be able to get that well enough on the camera to make it work. Too much cords around here. I'm going to say that's giving you what you need right there. So we're going to go with this one. This is a case that has been fire formed and turned. It has not been fired again. This one is fire formed, turned, and put in and ready to fire. Now, this was a new, I did some things different on this reamer. It was a new reamer. There we go with I think I can get focus. That's a brand new turned case. This is a case that has been fired a second time. Today I'm going out and I'm starting to fire these for effect. I'm trying to work up a load. This was mark number 5. I'm going to work up a load for the heavy bullets. Find out what they do. Here's our movement. This bat now has no caulk on close. But as you can see, it has a pretty significant gap space. Now, the reason I did that is because I'm blowing these cases out. This is the first time I had ever done this. So I ordered this and I set this reamer up prior to neck turning on the lathe. So I have a little extra, and what I'm going to probably do is let these cases grow just a tiny bit. Or I'll live, I mean, that's not bad. That gap space, I'm going to say, is probably no more than 6/8 thousandths, maybe 10. I'll have to take some measurements and find out. But that still is well within the ranges, and it's something that I can monitor. But that is the end of the case, coming into the end of the fresh new chamber. That's, well, I say fresh new. This barrel's got, I don't know how many thousands of rounds on it. It's been chambered. This is the 4th time now. And my next phase at this point is to go out and with this throat, which has very little free bore, as you can see, there's the free bore. I think it's got 30 thou free bore, if I remember right. There's a piece of fire cracking right there. How cool is that? Goes all the way through the new cut free. Oh no, that's maybe the edge of a land. I'm sorry, that's the edge of the land. Forget what I just said. So hard to get this thing focused on both places. But suffice it to say, that's an old barrel. There we go, just showing a little more. You've all seen these with the TESLONGs. But this is a fresh cut chamber. There we go, that's what I was looking at earlier. There's fire cracking already. This barrel has just been chambered, it's barely been fired. And already it's showing some of the old fire cracking maybe still showing. I'm not sure how that is. But this chamber is relatively new. I say relatively. It hasn't had 20 rounds, 10 rounds fired through it, just 15 maybe in testing. I'm just getting ready to start that now, but you can see that that old steel is already knocking the corners off right there. So I'll cycle this one more time. This is showing you one with a little bit more gap space, and I can see a carbon ring starting to build there. I'm going to have to clean this one. You can see that we got the shiny, and then I cover it, that right there, that's left in the gap is a little bit of carbon. So this might be one that hopefully I can get the cases to grow a little bit and then stop them back. I can do that with die settings. You can see the end of that case is pretty rugged and raggedy. It hasn't even been trimmed yet. So now I'm going to put this phone down and I'm going to show you something else that cropped up. I was forming some cases This is for the 6x47 Lapua. And one of these cases I got too light a load in, too light a charge. I'm playing with something brand new to me, and I'm not going to share loads or powders or anything, but suffice it to say I got evidence of a light load that I want to show you, because light loads are fascinating. They're also dangerous. This one isn't dangerous, but it's still okay. Come on, where's my shoulder? There we go. See those marks? That's gas leakage. It's not shoulder collapse. I've seen entire cases pleated out like this. This is just a matter of the powder that I was trying being a little bit too slow. Actually, in this case it was the bullet too light, but that gives the same effect as the powder too slow. This case did not slap out and seal properly. So if you run across stuff like this, this is a sign of low pressure. Now, this is not dangerous low pressure. This isn't like you will hear if you spend enough time on the inner tube and you spend enough time around shooting forums, you will hear of detonation. And without going through and explaining, all these cases have been fired a different number of times. Detonation is something that happens with a very, very light load. Like you set up a load that's it only happens with loads that are so light that not only can you, well, I won't even try to explain the mechanism because frankly I don't really understand the mechanism. Just suffice it to say that I have had light loads that go down, don't seal properly, the gas leaks around the case and pleats the case, collapses the case, smashes the case, makes the case look like it's been driven on, almost. But there is another thing called detonation, and I'm going to have to call it another thing. I was trying to tie the two together, but I wasn't really prepared for this. I'm just trying to, fill out a little length on this video because that's there. So here I go again, poorly prepared, and I think I've made a mistake in trying to tie detonation in with the low pressure pleating of the case. But light loads, I just know, can offer more problems than heavy loads. Heavy loads will ruin your brass, they will lock up the action, they're hard on everything, but they don't wreck stuff other than the cases. Whereas detonation can blow a gun up, and it's a poorly understood mechanism. I'm not even going to try to explain it because I don't know and I've never experienced it, but I've experienced a lot of low pressure through the years trying to work up subsonic loads, trying to work up big guns so they don't kick as hard for like brush hunting, trying to turn something like a 378 Weatherby into a, I don't know, 358 brush gun or something, and it doesn't work. Generally you have to have a chamber size to the appropriate weight and velocity. So I just wanted to show that because it popped up. It showed me that I was coming off the low end of the spectrum, which means it was actually my first loads, and I started too low because I'm a safety geek. So that wasn't unsafe. A little further it could have actually pleated, collapsed the case further, ran what I call pleats down the case, and maybe leaked some gas out. But in any case, I wear safety glasses all the time. Well, not now when I'm just videotaping because I have to be able to see. But the point is, wear your safety glasses, people. Be safe in this reloading thing. I'm going to try to go through step by step and build a safe set of reloading practices for you. And this is just part of that ongoing series. Buy yourself one of these TESLONGs. Get inside that case and check to see that your case has adequate gap space at the end of the neck, between the end of the neck and the end of the chamber. That's it for this installment.